Hi everyone, TSW here in another video. My YouTube channel apparently is popping off, so more content from me. I hope you enjoy it. Today we have another 10 things to be doing right now in the Burning Crusade pre-patch, or the pre-patch, which is before the pre-patch. Anyway, starting off with guild banks. Guild banks are coming in the pre-patch, but now, before the pre-patch comes, you can still get your bank alt to make a guild. Even though you can't make the guild bank now, you can make the guild. So go to the guild section of the city, get the guild charter, get 10 random people to sign it. Because as soon as the pre-patch comes, you can spend 100 gold to get the first tab on the guild bank, and straight away start to unclutter your mailbox and your bags. The next tab is 250, the third tab is 500, and then 1,000 gold. So it does get expensive quite quickly. But what I do is I have a banker for disenchanting, for ores, for cloth, for herbs. So just having one bank tab on each of them for 100 gold, it's not too bad. So I suggest get lots of guild tabs ready on your bank alts. Editing TSW here, just chiming in. I just ran around at 6 p.m. on my server, and it took me 9 minutes to get 10 signatures. And just something to bear in mind, I think you are required to have an authenticator on your account in order to have full functionality of a guild, and I think that also includes the guild bank, so please bear that in mind when trying to get a guild bank. Number 2, right, this will take a bit of explaining, I think. So there are faction balances in place on the PvP realms on anniversary servers. So I don't want to create too much of a alarm, but because on PvP realms there is a faction balance, you cannot always create horde characters. I play on Spine Shatter EU, and I've got friends who are saying, yeah, I'm coming back for TBC, I'm going to make a character. They're making a character, and they literally cannot make a horde character. And it takes them days and days and days of trying until they can eventually, because enough alliance characters have been made in that period, that they can finally make a horde character. I think that horde is generally, particularly going to TBC, the more favoured faction. So if you're coming into Burning Crusade wanting to play Alliance, you might have better luck making your character straight away. But just be warned, and if you're very apprehensive and want to really have the best chance of playing with your friends who are already playing Anniversary, you do have the option to subscribe to WoW before the pre-patch comes, and to make your character now ahead of time. Even if you don't intend to play straight away, you can at least know that you have the character made. And it's my understanding that once you have one horde character made, you can make subsequent horde characters on that account without triggering the faction imbalance that Blizzard enforce. It's once you make characters, Blizzard are so much more lenient to you making additional characters on that account. So it's a bit awkward, and if you do want to play just on pre-patch, it might be worth subscribing a week before pre-patch and just continuously trying to make that character, just in case the whole of the pre-patch you can't make a horde character. I think there may very well be posts on the forums and subreddits about this, so this is my forecast on that potentially being a problem, and hopefully a solution, although you have to maybe subscribe for a week or two additionally to Blizzard servers to try and get a fix, and even then it's not a guaranteed fix, so good luck. Number 3. Okay, so this is a big topic at the moment. It might even warrant its own video, so if you're interested in this, subscribe, and in the coming weeks I think I'll sort a video out for this. But basically, boosting as we know it in Classic is going to change. It changed in the Burning Crusade, and you might be thinking, oh, during the Burning Crusade boosting was okay, I didn't have that many problems. Well, It came towards the very end of the Burning Crusade, these changes. I'll give you a quick recap. So 3 months after Sunwell Phase 5 dropped in TBC Classic, there was a blue post talking about new anti-boosting mechanics from enemies inside dungeons on Burning Crusade Classic. Can I find the official blue post? Yes, it's right here. So I'll link it in the description and show you on screen. But essentially, one of the most common pieces of feedback we've received and observed ourselves in our own adventures is the concern about pervasive sales of dungeon boosting services in game. So this is one of the reasons why in Anniversary we have a separate channel for seeing this sort of thing advertised, even though it's not really adhered to all the time. But basically, they're just saying that we don't like boosting as it is, and they're having mobs stunning you and becoming immune to slows. On top of that, you have the AoE cap. So there'll be footage in the background now showing you the differences between hitting loads of mobs for equal amounts of damage consistently, and then when you have a big pack, the numbers just go really, really small because the damage dealt is capped. So if you just keep adding more mobs, each individual tick of the AoE is reduced. So the overall AoE damage is the same, if you see what I mean. So particularly with the stuns and the immune to CC, that's going to make a lot of boosting much, much more difficult. And yeah, there are stuns. You might be thinking, oh, as a paladin, I'll be okay. I can bubble. I can free action. You can't bubble. You can't free action these extra stuns added to counter boosting. You will be stunned in an ice block. You will be stunned in a paladin bubble. You will be stunned through a free action potion. This is quite a big topic, so I want to jump into it, show you some more examples from the PTR and show you exactly how it works. So stay tuned, get subscribed, and I will expand on this topic. Number 4. Next up we have prospecting. It's a profession, jewel crafting, that I mentioned quite a bit recently, and that's because I've seen some people who, again, just blindly follow profession guides like they find online, and for jewel crafting you need thorium bars and you need mithril bars. So what do? They invest in thorium bars and mithril bars. That's not very smart. I would so much prefer to invest in thorium ore and mithril ore because they get you the expensive gems once you prospect them. I'll add these up and I'll let you know how much money this ore is worth. So I'm prospecting 200 thorium and 200 mithril. I'm going to look on my server right now and tell you how much the ore cost and how much the gems cost. So let's just pretend that jewel crafting is available now. Okay, so I crunched the numbers, and looking at the 200 thorium and 200 mithril, that would cost you today 212 gold total. And from the thorium, with today's prices of the gems, that would be 378 gold. So you're way better off investing in thorium ore if you're selling them at today's prices. Obviously, these prices won't be the same as they are in the pre-patch, and it's nice to have things ready now than wait for the pre-patch. There is value in having it now, having it done, but at the same time, I would just buy the ore. Why would you not? And then for the mithril, it's not quite as good actually. You're only making 100 gold worth of gems, and you're spending 78 gold for 99 gold worth of gems today. But it's the thorium, like these high level gems, which are very rare in vanilla classic content currently. So that's why they're, expensive. 10 gold for a large opal, 9 gold for a huge sapphire, and these are the cheapest ones on the auction house. If you want 20 of them for leveling jewel crafting, the price is only going to go up. So food for thought. Number 5. Next up we have Mudsprocket. Now this is an interesting new quest hub in the Burning Crusade. you have apparently up to like nearly around 60. I've read the number 60 mentioned regarding Mudsprocket, and that seems like a very large number of additional quests. I'm struggling to count to 60 looking at the quests, but there definitely are a lot of quests, and you want to be around level 40 for these quests. They do range between like the mobs, like level, like I think 37 to 42 down here in the south part of Dustwallow Marsh. So you come here when you've got bored of South Stranglethorn Vale and you're not wanting to go too early to Tanarus. This fills that slot very nicely. So make sure you come here and do all these new quests. They are very quick. I must stress, they are very quick. They are definitely more TBC oriented or TBC styled in the way that they give good XP and you don't need to go very far from the quest giver. Think about it like an Outland hub in the old world in Classic. And it's great. It's a must include quest hub for your leveling experience. Definitely Shamans, Paladins, you want to come to Mudsprocket. Number 6. Here's potentially one of the most useful tips in this video. Discord servers, community Discord servers. You can find out lots of interesting information regarding your server, your class, your spec, add-ons, and so much more. So if you're jumping back into the Burning Crusade anniversary and you just want some helpful information, or you don't even know what information that you want, find the link in the description to this Wellhead post. Some of these links are a little bit outdated. I don't think this page gets so much love and updates, but it really gives you a good idea of a place to start when it comes to returning back to the game. For example, with Warrior, you've got the Fight Club Discord. This is a very well-known Discord for all things Warrior related. So if you're planning to play Warrior, jump in there and you could read for hours and hours. The sky's the limit. Likewise, you've got all the different classes. Here I am jumping into the Druid Discord. I'm already on the Druid Discord, but it's asking me to sign in onto the browser. That's fine. And again, so much information, so many people in a very similar situation to you that just want to brush upon their game knowledge or ask questions, how mechanics interact with each other, so on and so forth. This is one of the most, the links are there and the information is on the Discords and the people to chat with are there. So the sky is the limit. So I hope that a lot of you benefit from this greatly. Number 7. So next up we have, I see this in trade chat all the time. People trying to sell vanilla items at, 50, 150, 250 gold. I'm thinking, hold on. Those stats related to TBC starter quests don't seem that impressive. So don't be trying to buy your alts or even your main that shiny new BOE, because a lot of the time the gear just isn't worthwhile. Sure, if you're planning to raid or to open world farm, then so be it. Maybe it's worth grinding out the last rank for rank 14 if you're 13 at the moment, or if you're planning to do lots of farming and you want to I want to get lots of leatherworking materials ready. I'm going to be killing mobs a lot. I want to spend 150 gold on an item. That's fine. But if, like me, you're going to have lots of alts that are just going to sit still until the Burning Crusade comes along, do not try and gear them up through the auction house. It's just not worth it. You can see some examples on screen now, or you can rewind it since I started yapping. And I'm showing you alternative items that you can get instead of the BOEs from the auction house. Now, this offhand sword, or main hand tanking sword, is actually quite a good one. So you can see me now jumping into the Zangmarsh quests to try and find a suitable alternative. But this sword is very good, and it will it will last you all of Hellfire. Yay! So you get maybe 4 or 6 hours. Well, it's probably quicker than that to quest through Hellfire. You've got a couple of hours where this sword is going to be very good. And then also comparing it to the Zangarmarsh quest rewards, this sword still holds up. But does it hold up when we get to Terakar Forest? That's where we hit the limit, where we are able to, once I go down the list of the many, many quests, you actually find a good upgrade. Obviously, when you're comparing raiding items like Naxxramas and AQ40, you do have to go a little bit further than what I would say these entry quests. You know, we're still in the first half or third leveling to level 70, and there's the sword. You can upgrade it. So if it's like, they're just not, I mean, you shouldn't really be buying these BOEs generally. That's my rule of thumb. You know, lots of people talk to me about how to make gold in TBC. Not spending gold is a very good alternative to making gold. Just keep the gold that you have. Okay, so looking here at the caster weapons, one good way to get lots of spell damage very early, it's the two-handers, it's the staffs. There's a very early staff in Hellfire Peninsula, one of the very first quests, which has 80 spell damage, and that's just crazy. You could do, like at level 58, you can enter Outland and do the starter quests and get yourself an 80 spell damage staff. Also, the healing. This is a 115 healing. To be honest with you, it only being 35 healing more than the 80 spell damage staff, I'd just heal with the spell damage staff. I think. What else do we have? You know, we've got axes. You know, they're just not good enough. Like these items that are like primo pre-raid bis items just do not hold a candle to the very first items in Outland. So save your gold. Don't try and get any of these items. They are simply not worth your gold. Number 8. I think I need to put the light on. I'm getting a bit dark here. Okay, so next up we have a really good change by Blizzard, which is increasing the gear stats, basically. So one of the best changes, or the biggest changes, is attack power on all of the Beast Strider dungeon set 1 pieces. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, rolling it all the way back to Ragefire Chasm, you can see on screen straight away, we've got some big upgrades, big upgrades. Basically, 90+% of the greens in dungeons are now rares. Yoo-hoo! And every time the green goes to a rare, there's a upgrade in the stats. Lots of spell damage now becomes available at lower level. Shadowfang Keep, we've got spell damage on the robe and on the belt. Lots of weapons also have upgrades, but again, if you're comparing the rares to the other rares like this dagger, they're going to be the same, which is they'd be nice if they were buffed, but I suppose they're already pretty good. So you can see we're looking at Black Fathom Depths, and we've got buffs to the bow and to the sword, so big buffs. The bow in particular gets a really big buff. And we've got the braces here as well. Got some agility on them. Yum, 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 yum. So again, your shamans, your paladins, even if you've done these dungeons 100 times whilst leveling previously on Anniversary, the fact that you have new gear really freshens it up. One of the biggest, nicest changes I like is the staff here from Scarlet Monastery Library. The staff goes from 60 attack power fighting beasts to 40 attack power fighting anybody. This is quite a good warrior weapon, as someone who's played a lot of warrior. If you don't have an early whirlwind axe, that staff can fill the void for a while. I feel like this staff is almost a downgrade. You're losing spirit for crit. Like, I use that spirit staff on my mage for boosting because it has lots of regen. The shoulders get a nice upgrade with extra hit. And the robe gets a massive upgrade. 14 spell damage. Oof! That's very good. So that chest gets mega upgraded. It's very good. Oh, also, we have the fist weapons on the right go from being a white to a rare. So that's jumped up 2 tiers of gear, from white to rare, to white to uncommon to rare, or common, uncommon. Anyway, all the terminology, we know what it means. The gear's white. So we're looking at Graveyard, the buff to the shoulders. I was expecting maybe, do these get upgraded? I couldn't remember, and they don't. So this is an instance where the green loot from the secret hidden Fairbanks mob to the side of Cathedral at the end, the greens do not get an upgrade. But the weapon here does, kind of. Instead of it just being healing, with all the healing gear, you have about a quarter, a third of the healing is now spell damage as well. So if you're a Resto Druid, for example, your casts Moonfire Wrath will get an extra bonus spell damage from your full healing set, which is nice. You know, no one's complaining about that, are they? It just means that you have a bit better chance to... this was done before dual spec was a thing back in the day, back in TBC. It's less relevant now that healing gear has spell damage built in a little bit, but no one's complaining. It's free stats. No one's complaining. So the dagger from the last boss is all Farak has been upgraded. So some of these upgrades are, I mean, all of them are nice. I'm not going to complain about any of these upgrades because whilst leveling, it's nice to do a dungeon, particularly when instance boosting and everything is such a prevalence in the game. Oh, this head is so buffed. 14 shadow damage to 27 spell damage. Every School of Magic, it's just shy of double shadow damage, and 27 extra arcane damage, frost damage, holy damage. Every other spell school is like, so good. Also, this should be its own number on the list already, but epics like this rare drop from Princess in Maradon, this drop rate is increased in the pre-patch and TBC. So keep that in mind if you're farming the Blade of Eternal Darkness still. The drop chance is, I can't remember what the Blue Post terminology is, significantly increased. It goes from being whatever it was. It's maybe 3 or 4 or 5. I think it might be 5 times more likely to drop. But when it's a whatever it is, 0.5% drop or whatever, it's still not likely to drop. But that is something to note. In the pre-patch, a lot of the epic rare items have a increased chance to drop. So if that's what you want to spend your time in pre-patch doing, trying to farm your Maradon Epic Dagger, then good luck to you. Last up, I was looking at some Nax gear to see if any of it was changed, and I was thinking there's definitely gloves that drop from Sapphiron. These gloves, Fists of the Unrelenting, these only drop in TBC and pre-patch. So these gloves they're very good, but they also have a fairly unique, it's not unique because you can get them from other gloves, but 50% disarm duration. So that's very useful. So in the comments here, you can see that these were originally on the loot table for Sapphiron, but never dropped. And then in patch 2.3, so quite late, in Zulaman, they were first dropping from the boss. So these are really interesting gloves that are kind of like a bit mysterious. Like there's a lot of story behind it. And the interesting alternative in the Burning Crusade for gloves that give you a 50% reduction on your disarms, I'm showing you now in the background. I'm just trying to find them. The stats aren't too different, really. The mats are quite expensive, particularly early on in the Burning Crusade. So you can see here, you get 2 gems, and I think that's 28 strength. The preview is so small, I can't really see what it says. 28, 26 strength. And here, they're comparable stats. You can get 2, 8, I think it's 8, crit strike gems. So that's 16 crit strike effectively you could put in those gem sockets. So you can see that the stats are quite comparable to fairly good gloves. So there are instances where you would maybe want to wear reduced disarm gloves, like the ethereal trash just before Netherspite in Kara. But interesting that not only do a lot of items get buffed, some items are introduced to the game for the very first time. Number 9. Now this next point might seem very obvious, okay? But believe me, if you install an add-on that whispers people when they use low rank spells, you spam the heck. It's called Rank Sentinel, or at least it was in TBC Classic. There's another freebie, Rank Sentinel. Get the add-on and it'll whisper anyone who's using low rank spells. Although lots of people get really annoyed when I whisper them through the add-on to say they've got low rank spells, so your mileage may vary. So anyway, this is such a simple tip, okay? But it's so effective. Once pre-patch hits, please go to your class trainer and just make sure you have all of the spells, because new ranks are available. If you don't have all of the AQ books, if you are on a fresh character, if you're respecking, if spells like Shield Slam, new spells like Devastate, Stance Mastery, they're new abilities that you will not have automatically learned going into the pre-patch. You do definitely want to go to your class trainer and learn the spells. So you have new passives as like a warrior, like Stance Mastery. You have new talents. You've got make sure you've got the max rank of Bloodthirst, although if you're level 60 you probably will. But also Rampage has a second rank as well. You don't just talent and think that you're done. You have to go to the talent trainer and the class trainer and make sure you've got the final ranks. Just some other classes that I've noticed whilst I've been playing in the PTR. Hunter, you're getting Aspect of the Hawk rank 7, which you probably have from a book if it's your main. But if it's your alt, maybe you don't have the book. Multi-shot rank 5, Serpent Sting rank 9, and this is a good one for hunters. Don't worry about trying to get MC into MC for Tranquilizing Shot, because you can learn it from the trainer when the pre-patch comes. And as a mage, you have Arcane Missiles rank 8, Conjured Food rank 7, so don't worry about if your Conjured Food isn't as high as it can be. Ice Block is now not a talented ability, so every mage can get Ice Block. Frost Ward rank 5 and Frostbolt rank 11. So that's just to name a few extra spells that you should be going to your class trainer and making sure that you have come the pre-patch. Number 10, we made it. Woo! Okay, so number 10 is going to be the other recommendations. There's going to be more than 10 items on this video. These are honorable mentions. That's what I'm trying to look for. So currently on the PTR, the number 1 blacksmith weapon and bis for every until glaives, basically, the Dragonmaw one-handed mace. Yes, I said one hand, not main hand. Currently in the PTR, this is a one-handed mace, so maybe it will remain a one-handed mace on launch. So warriors, enhanced shamans, blacksmiths, prepare yourselves. Next up, we have PvP marks. The cap currently is 20, and when TBC launches, the cap is 100. Something that people have done in the past is twofold. You can grind BGs 24 hours or less before the pre-patch comes, and when you have those marks in the mailbox, they only last 24 hours. So as long as you're within that window when you log in to the pre-patch, you can grab those extra marks in the mail. But going one stage further, currently you might, I don't endorse this and I don't know if it works 100%, but what you maybe can do is delete your marks now. So farm 20 marks and then delete them. Farm 20 marks, delete them. Farm 20 marks, delete them. So you have a lot of deleted marks, okay? And then when pre-patch comes, go into your Battle.net account online and go to item restoration, okay? And see if you can reimburse those marks. I think Blizzard did make a blue post about this, saying that you could do it with marks once you had attained them or you were expecting them during the pre-patch, so it sounds like they're not going to be honoring any marks that you delete before the pre-patch, but it's something that you can maybe, if you've got marks to burn or marks now, you can delete them now and replenish your 20, because you can refund. Is it a month you can refund? So actually, maybe you don't want to delete your marks now. Wait a little bit longer, but it's something to maybe consider. Also, the next thing on my notes is permanent era TBC. Blizzard, can we have any confirmation on this? I suppose they want to know how popular TBC is, as to whether or not they want to announce ahead of launch if they're going to do a forever TBC. But that would be cool. I'd like that. And then lastly, we had a really nice comment on my previous video from Karagis5035. So if you've got any good suggestions for videos, please let me know, and maybe I'll include your comment in the video. So he's saying he's planning to, when planning your new Shaman or Pala, some gear will change from Classic and TBC, mostly healing gear. Yeah, I covered this briefly. The greens moving to the blues, but also the spell healing gear also has some spell damage gear. About a third to a quarter of its healing is now duplicated as spell damage. Lips will become worthless. Yeah, instead of removing any physical damage from attacking you for 6 seconds, it's reducing physical damage taken by, I believe, 120. So Paladin tanks might find it useful for, but it's really not that good. Like, compared to what it was literally immunity. Level 55/60 scrolls are already going up in price. Yeah, so currently you can get rank 4 scrolls, and rank 5 scrolls will be added into TBC, and the stats aren't very different, so you can get away with using the scrolls that are currently available now during TBC. But unless you're a top-end raider, people don't really care about the 15 or 20 extra agility or strength you can get from these scrolls. It's not something that most guilds will require you to use. However, if you want to go the extra mile, they are available for you. Fishing is easier to level in TBC. I wasn't aware of this explicitly, but it makes sense based on a lot of the other professions like mining and just engineering and the patterns being learned from trainers, that it would be easier as well during the Burning Crusade. Level crafting professions, now it's cheaper. Once people leave to Outland, the mats from Classic will go up. Yeah, so there won't be as many people mining Mithril and Thorium, like Thorium in particular, or anything that level range, because a lot of the time you're spending now is level 60 content, whether you're running to the raid or getting a world buff or just running around doing your quests, whatever. You're definitely getting to level 60 in the world, right? Whereas in TBC, once you hit 58, almost everybody immediately goes to Outland, because you're going to be leveling quicker from 58 in Outland. So those last 2 significant levels, which might take you 6-8 hours of extra leveling, and in that time you'll be killing mobs, getting their leather, getting their drops, getting veins, herbs, all of that extra bonus time that you would normally spend now is going to be cut short, and you're going to be taking yourself straight to Outland. And also the leveling speed, like the XP required from 1 to like level 58 is reduced. I think it's like level 30 to 60 is cut down quite considerably. So again, you're spending less time in those level ranges with those appropriate items, so they're expected to go up as well in value. It's very easy to make money during this pre-phase and also during pre-patch as well, but it just depends. If you've thought about it or invested, now's the time to cash out. And if you haven't and you're returning to the game, be prepared to farm or to be very sad when you're looking at the auction house. So that concludes the video. Another 10 awesome things to consider, bear in mind, take advantage of in the pre-patch and pre-patch. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out as a small-time YouTuber, and I hope to see you again very soon. Take care.